If you haven't heard, the movie Saiyaara New Release is making waves across the globe, and I have a no spoiler review for you guys now.
Listen up, it's jazz.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Hotchaipod, a podcast where we serve all of that sizzling Bollywood tea. I'm your host, Jazz, and yes, I have been MIA for a few weeks, or maybe more than a few weeks. But do not fret, teacups, we're not going anywhere, and that's why we're doing this no spoiler review. But not only no spoiler, because I know it's still early and some of you guys haven't seen it, but also kind of the hype around it. What does it mean for upcoming releases? What's the word on the street, and what's the word on Reddit? So this is Mohit Suri of, Ashiki, Ek Villain, these films that we love, have this certain kind of, melancholy or darker quality to it. And this movie's no exception. So I actually went in, I was not sure that I was going to watch this film, right? Because there are quite a few releases this summer. And I was like, well, which ones are we going to watch and review? But I went because the soundtrack was blowing up. I did not read anything because I went in completely blind. I didn't want to read PR hype. I didn't want to read, these paid reviews. And when I speak about paid reviews or kind of hyping movies up before they come out, there's a new Nepo star launch, you will hear about them for months in advance, kind of like we just did for Ibrahim Ali Khan. So with Ahaan Panday being the hero in this film, I actually wasn't sure if I had super high expectations, and I was like, why am I even going to see this? And the lead actress is kind of a fresh face. Her name is Aneet Padda, and she's been in a mini series called Big Girls Don't Cry. I think maybe she's done a couple other small works, but this is definitely like her first big feature film, especially as the lead actress. So very interesting from a casting perspective to see new faces, new chemistry, and then it's a love story. So there is a lot of room for it to end up cheesy or kind of, not that interesting. But it did kind of end up being this old school romance film. Some people were saying it was not family friendly, but I actually thought it was comparatively family friendly compared to some of the movies that we've seen recently. And some of the more saucy scenes, yes, there are some of those scenes in this film, but I think they actually fit the vibe very well because it's very much young couple, modern couple.
And that is good looks, and good looks.
He plays, an artist. She's an artist of sorts too, which I actually appreciated. And again, I'm not spoiling anything that you wouldn't see in the trailer. So much to say that I actually thought they did a non-cheesy depiction of what it's like to be in some of these creative circles and struggling, and some of the trade-offs you have to make professionally and personally to make it in the music industry in this case. So I actually kind of liked that backdrop of the film. So it's not some cheerful, fighting, bubblegum romance. It's definitely not that. It's a little bit darker, and there's no item song. There's no, the two of them like singing at each other. It's more of like background scores that are amazing and do lend to this film being more modern, more fresh, more young. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually did think maybe earlier in the film it would be a little bit cheesy, because you kind of see this like bad boy cliche motorcycle and all that with the hero coming in, and then you see the good girl, and I was like, oh no, like, where's this going? It's going to be like every other movie. The thing that I was the most pleasantly surprised about in this film were the performances, actually. I wasn't sure if their acting would be up to the mark or if it would seem a little bit juvenile to me, right? Because these are like younger faces, but that ended up not being the case. And that actually, I think their performances were really powerful. I think it really fit with their characters. It was a very moving film, which brings me to the hype. What's funny is that there's like two completely different worlds online. And of course in real life, because in real life we have the box office, right? And with the box office doing as well as it has for this movie, there are of course conspiracies, it's corporate bookings, these are inflated numbers. If someone like Chunky Pandey, for instance, was able to manipulate things like that, he would have done so for Anania's films. Actually don't think it is as simple as just, they can just do massive corporate bookings. I think up to an extent they can, and maybe for pre-booking in some of these earlier shows to build some momentum. But other than that, I mean, this is like some pretty organic growth. You're seeing the songs charting on Spotify Global. I think it's in the top 5 now for the title track of the film. So there is genuine buzz and interest in the film, which brings me to the reception, because a lot of people are feeling mixed about it. On one hand, a great film is a great film, right? On the other hand, people are annoyed, I think, that it's a Nepo boy who's the star, much less related to Ananya Pandey, More on that in a second. And so there's been this divide, like, this movie's trash. Anyone who likes it is immature. This is for like young Gen Z. This is for nibbies. I don't know. Then fine, I'm a nibby or not. I think those are chronically online takes. I don't think that those people have seen the movie because genuinely, I'm sitting in the theater, right? I'm in Los Angeles. So also it's an NRI crowd, but there were older people to both sides of us and they were crying during this movie. During the intermission, I heard them playing the songs on their phone. So the film was having a real impact on people. And I have to say, for me personally, absolutely. I walked out of that movie feeling like, wow, did not expect the story to turn the way that it did, didn't expect to be so like sucked in to essentially just a romance film. And I think if you look back even recently in the last few months with some of the re-releases with Sanam Teri Kasam and Layla Majnu, which people also have been kind of comparing Saiyaara to online, these are kind of these darker romances and they've done extremely well on their re-release. So maybe the Indian audience is just kind of craving a little bit more romance film, a little bit less of the action genre, because we've just gotten action after action from everybody, really. It's a combination of being hungry for, normal romance films as well as fresh talent. And that is where I will say that I am surprised again at both the actors, definitely at the Nepo actor, Ahaan Panday. Would not have expected such a great performance. And I think partly why he was so great in this role is his diction. You hear this a lot with some of the Nepo stars, that they have this Sobo accent and it seems really unnatural and it kind of takes you out of the film. And that was not the case here. So I don't know if he worked with a diction coach or he just never acquired that accent, but either way, so much the better. I also saw comparisons that he looks like Vidang Raina, or he looks like Aryan Khan, or he looks like a mix of them. I love all three of these names that are mentioned. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I have a type. But I think Ahaan Pandey, I couldn't decide as I'm watching the film, like, is he hot? Is he hot? He's kind of young. So maybe that's why I was a little bit unsure. But by the end of the film, I decided he is hot. I followed him on Instagram, and that is all you need to know. I mentioned this before, and I'll mention this again. I do think that the Nepo criticism is, of course, much harsher on the female actresses than the male stars. 100%. Amount of hatred someone like Kushi Kapoor, Janvi Kapoor, Ananya, Suhana, all these girls get is so much more than, Ibrahim Ali Khan, Junaid Khan, whatever. But they have got their fair share of trolling too, and I will say much deserved. It's my opinion! I did see people comparing him and saying he's not a Nepo like them, he's a Nepo like Ranbir Kapoor, who's actually talented and deserves to be there. So I will ask you, the teacups, what you think about that. Do you see any comparison? Do you think it's too soon to tell? We don't know the trajectories that their careers might take, because you can come out really strong with a really successful debut film and then make a lot of mistakes over the next few years that could really sink your career. Or you could start off as like a flop. Savaria was a flop, and people like to say that, but that it kind of didn't matter because then his subsequent films had other hype as well, right? Like Bachne Hasino and whatever. He was kind of fitting those roles. So remains to be seen where both of these stars will be landing up, but they have been trending. The music again is going crazy. People are tagging them. A lot of stars in Bollywood are shouting them out on Instagram, being like, I saw this film, it moved me, I cried, Shraddha Kapoor's talking about it. And of course, that could also just be lip service and nobody actually watched the film, but who knows? I think the film was resonating. I think it had played on intergenerational issues and trauma and real world problems or situations that can really impact relationships. So I liked it. Maybe it is cheesy. You guys tell me if you saw it and liked it. Am I delusional? Did I buy into the hype? Who knows? We have one semi-shady hot chai topic today. So speaking of Ranbir Kapoor, Alia Bhatt posted a few days ago this kind of reel on Instagram of her twirling in and out of Ranbir Kapoor's arms, or his hand rather, of like her twirling into him and then being twirled out. And that happens multiple times. Just an FYI, everyone's like, this is, romance goals, couple goals. This is what they're doing. First of all, you can't see Ranbir at all. So we don't even actually know if it is his hand. 2, it's tagged the Mandarin Oriental. This is a promotional piece. So they obviously did this in some sort of brand partnership. And so it may not have been Ranbir, because it may have just been her kind of brand partnership to promote the hotel.
We used to go out at night, he's like, wipe that off, because he loves the natural.
Weirdest of all, and I actually saw some other creators talking about this, maybe on TikTok, about why Ayan Mukerji, who directed Brahmastra, and who is a close friend of both Alia and Ranbir, but mostly Ranbir, why he accompanies them on all their vacations. Yes, I saw some kind of not so nice speculation about Ranbir and Ayan, and they have this secret relationship. None of us can really say if that's true or false, but I guess the other theory is like, why can't Alia and Ranbir just like vacation alone, or like, do they just not like to hang out? Do they prefer to have a third wheel? Is it more fun for Ranbir if he has his friend there and not just Alia? I don't know. What do you guys think? He is on many vacations, family vacations with them, and maybe he is just like family, and maybe they don't like to vacation together as a couple. So you guys let me know in the comments. Is it weird, or is it actually a modern, fun idea to bring your friend to travel with you and your partner? And with that, Teacups, we end today's episode. Thank you guys for joining me and for listening to the review of Saiyaara. I hope you guys go and watch it. And if you liked this episode, please feel free to like and share with all your friends. And I will be back soon, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!
Listen up, it's jazz.